Before we started, we were talking about some sort of mind-boggling statistics that are true about people, about families, and the books that are available to children. What were they?
Well, it was, I think, 61% of under low-income families have absolutely no books in their homes at all for children, and that 80% of after-school care and preschool that serve underprivileged children have no age-appropriate books for their children too, which just seems kind of like cruel, actually. I think especially in this day and age where we're constantly fighting a kind of global ADD with the internet and video games and television and commercials. Reading is an active activity, even though you're generally sitting down, that a child's imagination is a part of and actually grows from, rather than just sort of sitting there having it happen to them. So I do think it's extremely important that at a young age that's kind of stimulated and encouraged.
What message, if anything, do you think reading brings to the issue of bullying?
I mean, first of all, I think reading in general increases your sensitivity level and your ability to be empathetic. Identify with a character. So again, I think in a very oblique way, if somebody has got a passion for reading, I think they're probably less likely to just start picking on people for no reason. I think there are certain characters in literature that I think, Harry Potter is a good example of somebody who was not necessarily heroic and was being picked on constantly and actually kind of rose to the occasion. And I think as much as we can kind of promote those kind of characters, including in pop culture, obviously there's Gargoyle and people who are just trying to kind of really sort of hit home the fact that being different is actually often kind of the cooler thing than running completely with the herd, and that they're a kind of just a measure of tolerance for differences actually makes it a more interesting life for everybody concerned. I mean, for my daughter, she's been around a lot of very different kinds of people, and I think that's partly something that's to do with how my life has been, but it's also, I think, possible to it does expand your world a lot to be reading. So if you are reading about a lot of different things, there's a lot of amazing children's books that do deal with all sorts of issues, whether it's divorce or disability or death in the family, all of that stuff, and I think all that stuff's very important for children to read about.